What's up, y'all? This is Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut, coming to you from Replanting, Florida. Yes, there is a tropical storm hitting here, but it isn't really as bad as the news is making it sound. Jim Cantor didn't even make the trip for this one. Until then, I hope you enjoy this video where I show you all of the struggles that I'm having with my St. Augustine grass this summer, and I hope that if you're having the same struggles, that you feel better too. All right, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Let's get into this week's video. What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Hain, the Lawn Care Nut. Thanks for coming back for yet another weekend vlog. Getting ready to enjoy the mow here. By the way, you see how good the grass is looking. This is after, remember I scalped it real bad because I let it get overgrown and all of that. Remember all that? It's come back nicely in most cases. But I want to illustrate something to you. This is how the lawn looks. This is Floritam St. Augustine right here. This is how the lawn looks to everyone else. Everybody that's driving down the street and checking out your lawn and realizing that they're dominated. But see, you're a lawn enthusiast. You get down and look at your lawn closer, and plus you live here, and so you see it every day. And so the view that you see looks more like this. And so you start looking down on it like this, and you start parting the waters, and you're seeing, oh no, what is all this brown stuff down in here? What's going on? Oh no. Meanwhile, everybody that's looking at it from up here thinks your lawn is perfect and you're a hero. You're way down in here and you're just looking at stuff like this and you're going, oh no, I have gray leaf spot. This is terrible. Let me put a picture up on Facebook and show everybody this and go, oh no, it's terrible. My lawn is gonna die. And then what do? You run to Home Depot and you buy all the fungicides and you throw them all down, and then you wait 2 weeks and you throw them all down again. And then what do you do after that? You go back down in there and you find it in another spot and you go, oh no, the fungicide didn't work. I don't know what to do. Let me see if I should throw down more. Or maybe I should throw down some insecticide instead this time. And you get the idea. It's just this vicious cycle of throwing down, throwing down, throwing down, throwing down. So let me just tell you this right now. If you have St. Augustine grass and you live in Florida, I'm talking the part of Florida where I live. I'm over here in the Bradenton area, over by there, okay? West Coast, but I'm pretty sure most of Florida is like this. It is very humid every day. Very humid, actually super humid. Super humid is the term we use. That's a technical term. It's super humid every day, all day, and we get rain every other afternoon or probably every afternoon with cloud cover that holds all the moisture down. In the morning, there is dew everywhere. It is soaking wet, and it's all of those things. If you live in Florida and you have St. Augustine grass and you're going through all of that, you're going to have disease. Just live with it. Just deal with it. Let your lawn work its way through, because you see that? That's what everybody else sees, and that looks freaking good. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. This is actually palmetto. It's much more susceptible to gray leaf spot. And I actually have some areas right in through here that are struggling. And what that brown, you can kind of see the brown cast in there. That is gray leaf spot taking its toll hard here on the palmetto. So the palmetto is definitely showing it, and it's even got this yellowy cast to it. That's because it's nutrient. There's no nutrient in the soil because of all the rain just washed out. Now, this has always been a problem for me. This center section of my lawn right here for years, every year, at some point during the year, the St. Augustine turns yellow in here. It's not disease or anything like that. It's just for some reason that area there won't hold nutrient. I actually have something I'm going to try. I'm working on a collaboration now, but that'll be something in a few weeks. But until then, I'll show you. Yes, it can cause some major damage. Look at these spots. See all that? What's happening here is the St. Augustine is diseased, and these areas right here, this is where when I did scalp the grass, that I allowed all the piles to pile. Well, this area right here is where the mower fell and scalped. It just dropped, scalped it right there. You can see, boop, boop, 1, 2, 3, created those thin spots. But this back here, this is where you can still see some in there. This is where some of those clippings piled up. And so cutting that overgrown lawn like that, it has created some thin spots. And because the palmetto is diseased and I can't throw nitrogen at it, it can't recover. It's just in this, it can't move. It can't do anything. Will it recover? Yeah, because this happens often. Every year I get a spot somewhere in the palmetto or in the Floritam. Every year is a little bit different. I get a spot that struggles, thins out, dies for whatever reason. And then if you keep following my channel, things will look even worse sometimes in the winter and in the spring. And people will go, oh, you know, your lawn looks terrible ever since this and ever since that. And I'm just like, okay, bud. And then all of a sudden it starts to warm up again, and boom, the lawn just recovers. That is how you have to understand warm season lawns work. They are not like cool season lawns where everything is repaired with seed. These are lawns that you just let them regrow. And also because of our climate and because our summers are longer and our climates are more harsh, our grasses have adapted to grow differently. You know, I talk about it all the time, rhizomes, stolons, all of these things. All of that is something that you need to let your lawn do what it does naturally. Let it die back in areas, let it recover. It's a fight, right? And your job is to control your controllables, which are frequent mowing as often as you can. And by the way, some of the problem that I have right there is because of me, because I didn't mow properly. That's on me. And by the way, that's going to happen to you too. You're not perfect, right? So you might have some problems there where you struggled and you overgrown mowed, but do the best you can. Control your things, mow often. If you need to water. We don't need to, we're getting rain every day. Fertilize when you can. I live in an area where they don't allow it. So what am I doing? I'm doing the other things that I can do. I'm applying my biostimulants, keeping up with it, but I am not applying fungicides because it's going to happen anyway. And I figured save the chemical. We're not at a golf course. And this is not golf course grass anyway. But by the way, those of you that do have friends that work on Florida golf courses, ask them how much fungicide they use every year. It is astronomical, the amount of fungicides they use. But anyway, I am riddled with the gray leaf spot. It's everywhere in here. You can find it on every blade of grass. See that? And I did some fungicides earlier in the season because I was trying to get my lawn to stay thick, because as you remember, I was wiping the Bermuda out over here. So I didn't want to have disease come in when I was trying to get the plugs that I planted here to regrow. Remember that? That was all plugged. Now it's all regrown. So yes, I used fungicides during that grow in because I needed this to be able to grow. And by the way, there where the plugs were here, there is also gray leaf spot on all the brand new stuff too, but they're still pretty vigorous. Back to what I was saying though, is I used the fungicides here for a reason, because I needed this to regrow, so I didn't want any fungus to come in and slow things down. And obviously that worked. But now that we're in the summer, like I said, my advice is just to live with whatever fungus you have, because number one, look at how great your lawn looks, and number two, it's going to recover anyway. I'm kind of just going off the cuff in this video. I don't even know if this makes sense. Somebody said in the last, somebody put a comment down last week, what the heck has happened to this channel? Between you and me, I don't really know. But I'm doing my best to have fun with it. So I will show you one thing though. After you cut St. Augustine grass and you have disease present, it does look pretty terrible. So let's do a little montage, and then let me show you how bad it looks right after it's cut. A lot of you had asked me, Alan, how long do you think it's going to take for the Bermuda grass to come back in here? Because in case you forgot, I spent time doing a full series on how to get rid of Bermuda grass in your St. Augustine grass. I showed you the chemicals to use. They're brand new. One of them's brand new on the market, all of that stuff. And it actually worked. All of the Bermuda was gone from here in the spring. Here we are now, almost to August. And look at this. It's all back. I'll get some close-ups with a different camera just to make sure, but there it is. You can see it's like a lighter blue color. This is the patch of the palmetto where I told you it struggles every year. It's all yellow in here. It's not disease. It's yellow in here because of nutrient deficiency or whatever. Like I said, it always turns yellow in here, but that slows the growth. This is also where I had a lot more of the patches that were dropped when I did the bad mow, and this is where the opportunistic Bermuda grass is starting to make its way back in, and it's all through here. I don't know if, again, I'll get some better pictures, but all that thin bladed stuff sticking up, that's all the common Bermuda coming back in the weak areas mostly. However, I can come down into areas like this that don't have the disease, don't have the nutrient deficiency yellow grass, and look, it's in here too. So it's inevitable. It's going to come in no matter what. Now that does make for a good discussion point, and this is one of the challenges with doing vlogs, is sometimes the best content comes in the middle like this, and most people won't see it. But there's always been this question of, Alan, if you get rid of the Bermuda, how long will it take to come back? Well, you can see only a couple months. But number two is it worth the chemical? In other words, you got to put all this chemical down to get the lawn clean, to get the Bermuda out of the St. Augustine. You got to put all this chemical down. Well, now we know the Bermuda is going to return in 2 months, so you're going to have to put more chemical down, or you could go with a strong fungicide program so your lawn doesn't develop the weak spots, and you could hope that your mowing is perfect and that you never make the same mistakes that I do. And apparently some people in the comments, they never make the same mistakes that you and I do. They're perfect. They're perfect. But for the rest of us, are we able to do that? Get the perfect mowing, keep all the disease out in order to try to keep the Bermuda out. But as we see, even in my thicker spots, it's going to come back anyway. So is it worth it? All of that chemical to get a clean lawn? I'd probably just resod with the Pro Vista if I was you. If you don't know what Pro Vista is, I'll give you some links to that below. And speaking of Pro Vista, tomorrow I'm actually going to be going to Ohio for a very important meeting about Pro Vista. All right, so that was an enjoyable mow. And let me just show you now. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but the lawn does not look as good. It just doesn't. So let me show you now, after a cut, what St. Augustine looks like in the summer. And remember, these are rough cuts. It's a rough time of year to cut in general. And that was only 5 days growth, believe it or not. So you'll see when I say rough cuts, you know, we have a little bit of this in there. I need to run the blower over. Actually, usually in the summer, no matter what lawnmower I've used over the years, gas, electric, doesn't matter. I have always double cut. I didn't have time for a double cut today. And so that's hurting me too. By the way, look at this. Rainy season. See all the crackweeds? I mean, I made a video on spraying crackweeds and killed them all. What was it? 5 weeks ago? 6? Look at that. All of them back again. But can you see there's like a brownish, like when you get way down in here, you'll just think, oh, my lawn just looks terrible when you get up close, because you see all the brown in there now that's all exposed. And so people just think, oh, they just think this is terrible disease. And so that's the other thing I wanted to show you. We already talked about disease enough. You know, again, I'm not coming down on y'all. I just sometimes feel like I need to, I don't know. Anyway, let's just check it out. Let me just show you. It's part of the growth nature. And St. Augustine grass shows this the most, but all of our other grass types, zoysia, Bermuda, centipede, even Bahia grass, they all grow this way, but for sure St. Augustine has the most aggressive stolons. So there you go. There is that's a Sylvester stolon right there. Let's take it over here. I've done this before in this exact same place. So this is the business end, and this is continuing to creep and grow. And every so inches you have what's called a node, and then that node shoots up grass blades. And you can see this is what they look like, and they've just been cut, so they're all cut across the top there, but they were much longer. There was large grass blades coming up here, and those were looking pretty. The tips of them were diseased, but the rest of them in there were looking pretty and dark green. Now that I've cut down lower, I'm exposing a lot more of this undercarriage here, and it's not as green. It's a little more pale, as well as you have this sloughing, because these are older grass blades that used to be up there and tall, and now they're older, so they're sloughing off. Right? You're seeing that in there, and now the new stuff is growing. People think, oh no, this sloughing, is this bad? Is this going to create a thatch problem? No, this is just part of the growth nature. Remember, all of this stuff though, all of this mass is excellent competition for weeds. And that's why this grass does so well here in Florida and in Texas and other places, because that thick, stout stolon can really just fight off weeds and create competition for them. And it also makes it able to regrow if there's damage that occurs. And so just imagine there are tens of thousands of these all woven around to make that carpet of grass. Now, is this a good barefoot grass? No. I mean, again, it's like stepping on hard wood, you know, and again, you hear it crunch when I step on it. But what does it do? It keeps the jungle back. Florida is a tropical jungle, and the jungle's always trying to retake the land. And this is your best defense. And the best thing to do with this is keep it thick and juicy as long as you can, because the thick, juicy stolons will help to fight off everything else. That's why we call them Sylvester stolons. But the point of that was to say, when you cut the lawn and then you look down in it and you see all that brown, It's not disease, it's not a problem, nothing's dying. That's just the natural growth nature of the St. Augustine grass. And by the way, that sloughing is going to get greater and greater as the days start to get shorter now as we go into the fall and the winter. It's going to start to slow down, and a lot of that growth that it's been making all year, it's going to start to recede and slough naturally as we get into the winter. And again, it's those shorter days that trigger almost all of that. All right, I'm going to show you something here. Can you see that ring right there? Look at that. I'll mow this. You might be able to see them better. Here's one right here. Can you see it? It's a ring. It's all here. Here's a good looking one. See there? Can you see the ring right there? That is Rhizoctonia. That's the brown patch Rhizoctonia that you see up north. When it manifests in the summer like this, it's actually the brown patch that you see up north, that Rhizoctonia, versus the Rhizoctonia that we see in large patch in the winter. And it's only on this side of my neighbor's lawn. There's a very good example of it, like that figure 8. Now, what happens whenever large patch or brown patch comes up, you'll see people immediately blaming the customer for throwing down too much nitrogen. Nitrogen did this. Nitrogen causes the disease, feeds the disease, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess how much nitrogen this side yard at my neighbor's has had this year? It got 1/3 of a pound from Double Dark way back in March. That's it. I've been taking care of this lawn now for about 2 years. The only place I've fertilized this year is at any kind of regularity is this front yard. The front yard got soil fit like 4 times. I was doing like micro doses, I mean spoon feeding with that. So that's had 3 pounds of nitrogen all year. And interestingly enough, no brown patch. Now, there's no correlation there. The fact that I fed this a whole bunch of nitrogen and over there I didn't feed it nitrogen, and this doesn't have disease and that does. I can't make the claim, well, lots of nitrogen from soil fit kept us from getting disease. I can't make that claim. Just like experts on Facebook can't say that it's too much nitrogen that caused this, because this hasn't had hardly any all year. The point of this is to say that don't listen to people who try to blame you for disease. It's not your fault if you get disease in your lawn. It's not like smoking and you gave yourself cancer. It's not like that. This is a whole different thing. Environmental factors are what cause this, and the environmental factor that allows this to manifest on this side is it's soaking wet. This is a swale right here, and so this is just wet for days and days and days. It's also extremely still because it's in between houses. There's not as much breeze, and that is the perfect, and it's very humid here as well, and that is the perfect situation. That is one of the 3 legs of the stool for disease. You got to have the host, which is the turf grass. You got to have the disease present, which is the Rhizoctonia, and then you got to have the conditions right, which is very still, very humid, no breeze. And now we have the large patch. What do you do for it? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to mow my way through it. But if you wanted to, you just continue fertilizing your way through it. If you're not in one of those bands like I am, continue fertilizing your way through it. Stress blend would be great, and it'll cure up here in another month or so. And next time you get a disease in your lawn and somebody tries to blame you for it because you did something wrong fertilizing, you send them to this video and you let them know that the YouTube expert, the lawn care nut, said they're wrong and you're okay. You should keep throwing down and hoping for the best. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the lawn.